Have you ever found yourself in a situation where releasing information may cause danger to individuals and the public?
Personally, I have not, considering the danger to be immediate or future potential physical danger. I haven't, since I work with students. I have student information, and we can't share any student personal information, grade information, or medical information with unauthorized persons. And then on a college campus, most students are adults. So we would have to have some sort of document authorizing somebody for that release of information if somebody had guardianship or power of attorney, so on and so forth. But overall, the answer would be no. I'm not in possession of information and haven't been asked for it that it would immediately affect students' personal safety.
Okay. How do professionals ensure their work remains legal and ethical in your personal point of view?
It's pretty easy. I guess the largest issue, in my point of view, is favoritism or nepotism, in that you may have somebody you like personally that you want to see get a job with your company or with your organization, but they may not be the best qualified person. So, to me, the major obstacles are setting aside personal feelings, and then particularly when it comes to hiring somebody and looking at the qualifications and not just hiring somebody based on that they're a friend of yours or you know they're a good person, they need a job even if they're not qualified. Well, that's to me, that's not fair to the other applicants, to not give them fair consideration. As far as legally, that's to me pretty easy. There's things that you know, legal issues seem to be, to me, in my position, pretty straightforward. And university equipment is used for university purposes, and our student projects, anything associated with the university. And then beyond that, you can't, use it for personal use. So that seems straightforward, as well as any other legal issues, like if you see somebody taking something, they never return it, obviously, that's just simple theft. So that's pretty straightforward. So those issues have never been overly complicated to me.
Was speech ever censored in your area of study?
In
Your
historic
work area?
work area, no, not specifically. I mean, of course, there's the issues regarding non-disclosure of student records, student grades, so on and so forth. And you could say that is a form of censorship, but to me, it's students' personal information, so that's not really public information. I guess that's where you draw the line between what's public and what's private. And when you're in a position at a university or a large public serving institution like a hospital, there's a lot of information that would be private that a lot of people who work there will be able to access. So you just have to make sure that private information stays private.
Okay. Have your ethical views changed over the years?
Not particularly that I can recollect. It's hard for me to remember all the way back to my young years. But ethically speaking, a lot of these things seem pretty straightforward: to not abuse your position to benefit yourself, to not use information that you may have about people to exploit in some way or for profit. All that, to me, is pretty straightforward.
Okay. What do you feel is the major ethical or legal challenge facing your industry today?
Today, the major ethical regarding broadcast is there's so many mediums of broadcast, and so many people can get on the internet, and so many people can have an opinion online or make a video, with phones or consumer cameras and so on and so forth. That particularly with broadcast outlets, I feel like there's a real need ethically to be objective, and especially in that broadcast institutions can be owned by corporations that may create ethical issues, such as if a defense contractor owns a news corporation such as NBC, and then they always report favorably, yes, we should go to war, or try to set up news stories like it requires our military information. Well, to me, that's an ethical issue, because if it's owned by a defense contractor, they will frankly profit from swaying public opinion to support a war, say. And to me, that's a very big issue that often gets overlooked or swept under the rug. And that's one of the main ones is news sources are owned by somebody and they make profit from advertisers. And if the advertisers or their owners can censor, or not even censor, but just shape the news to direct it towards a certain conclusion, then you get into a severe ethical area it's not illegal. It's covered by freedom of speech, obviously, but it's ethically, I would say it's unethical to do that. So.
Okay, how has social media and bloggers changed ethics or the way in which information is delivered?
The way in which it's delivered, it's quite a bit. A lot of people have immediate access, such as the Ferguson riots would be a good example. Natural disasters are a good example. People can immediately say what's happening. However, if it's just one person, they may not be they may not see a bigger picture, so they may tend to over-report it. I mean, without experience of knowing, say, what a riot looks like or what constitutes a true natural disaster, so on and so forth. As far as the ethics of it, then obviously people who can advocate for their own viewpoint, and obviously would. So you would just have to, it's up to the consumer or the reader to be more savvy and say, okay, I'm reading a person's blog. What's their point of view to begin with? What's their predisposition? You know, if it's animal rights and they hate animals, then obviously they're going to be against animal rights. So just it's simply that, but oftentimes there's so much information coming at you, you forget to ask the most basic questions, like what's the presupposed point of view that we have here?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and dedication.
Thank you.